Good morning. Romans 1:30. Here we go. Slanderers, haters of God, insolent, haughty, boastful, inventor of evil, disobedient to parents. That's the verse. So this verse is one of the most intense descriptions of the human heart in all of Scripture. When a person or a culture pushes God out, darkness doesn't stroll in politely. It storms in. So today we're breaking down Romans 1:30 with a full Greek word study, verse-by-verse explanation, deep dive into what Paul called the debased mind. If you want a powerful Bible teaching, stay locked in. So here we go. Romans 1 is a spiritual autopsy. Paul shows humanity spiraling downward after rejecting God's revelation. Verse 28 says God gave them over to a debased mind, a mind that can no longer discern right from wrong. And we've seen this, right? It's all over the internet and in just society. Romans 1:30 reveals the fruit of that collapse. This is what happens when truth is abandoned, when the knowledge of God is suppressed, and when the heart becomes its own authority. This is not just ancient history. This is end times discernment, modern culture, spiritual warfare, and Christian living all wrapped into one explosive verse. So Paul begins with slanderers. Ketalous in Greek, whisperers, backstabbers, people who destroy reputations in the shadows. This is more than gossip. It's intentional character assassination. When the heart rejects God, the tongue becomes a weapon. Words stop building and start tearing down. This is why slander is a sign of a debased mind, a mind disconnected from truth and compassion. Next comes one of the strongest terms in the entire chapter: haters of God. This doesn't mean neutral. It means hostile, aggressively opposed to God's holiness, authority, and truth. So when people reject God, they don't drift into neutrality. They drift into hatred. The heart resents the God who exposes sin. This is the core of rebellion, and it's a key theme in Romans 1. Explain New Testament theology and Christian worldview. Then Paul unleashes a triple strike: insolent, haughty, and boastful. Insolent, it's violent arrogance. Haughty is self-exalting, elevated, looking down on others. And boastful, empty pretenders, braggers, people who inflate themselves with lies. This is the collapse of humility. When God is rejected, self becomes God. And when self becomes God, pride becomes the new religion. This is why pride dominates our culture today. It's the natural result of a mind separated from God. Then Paul drops one of the most chilling phrases in Scripture: inventors of evil. It means people who create new forms of wickedness. This isn't stumbling into sin. This is engineering it, designing it, innovating it. When the mind disconnects from God, creativity becomes corrupted. Imagination becomes a factory for destruction. This is why sin today looks more creative, more aggressive, more engineered than ever. Romans 1:30 predicted it. Finally, Paul ends with something that seems small, but is actually foundational: disobedient to parents, right? He lists all these sins. And then at the end, it's like the crescendo is disobedience to parents. This is rebellion against the first authority God ever established. When the family structure collapses, society collapses. When children reject parental authority, it reflects a deeper rejection of God's authority. Boy, are we seeing this today. This is why this verse is so essential for Christian parenting, biblical authority, and cultural discernment. Romans 1:30 is a mirror. It shows us what happens when the knowledge of God is pushed aside. It shows the danger of pride, the destruction of slander, the hostility of rebellion, and the collapse of authority. But it also shows us something else, the desperate need for grace. Because without God's intervention, this is where every human heart goes. But through Christ, the mind can be renewed, the heart restored, and the life transformed. If you want the full teaching, every Greek word, every cross-reference, every layer of meaning, watch the complete breakdown on my channel. And if this opened your eyes, hit like, subscribe, and share. Someone you know needs this truth today and needs Jesus Christ.